If you love The First Law, then these are a few other series that might scratch that same itch for morally great characters, dark humor, and a brutal world. First up, A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. Now, I think it's safe to say that George was probably a direct influence on Joe. Much like The First Law, this story features a dark and gritty world, morally questionable characters, and constant political maneuvering. Honestly, if you love The First Law but haven't read A Song of Ice and Fire yet, it's time to change that. Next, The Band series by Nicholas Eames. Now, The Band definitely has more of a lighthearted tone than The First Law. However, it does offer the same potent mix of brutal action and humor, and the protagonists are a lot closer to anti-heroes than traditional heroes. Next, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, if you're in search of another series that features a harsh, unforgiving world full of morally great characters, then look no further than Red Rising. Now, this is obviously a bit of an oversimplification, but in a lot of ways, it's kind of like The First Law in space. Next, The Gentleman Bastard sequence by Scott Lynch. Now, The Gentleman Bastard sequence isn't that similar to The First Law, but they definitely have a few things in common. Namely, the clever characters, the witty dialogue, and the grim, dreary setting. And like The First Law, it's also very character-driven. And finally, the Greatcoat series by Sebastien de Castell. This is another character-driven series taking place in a harsh, unforgiving world and focusing on deeply flawed protagonists who are trying their best. It's an underrated series, and I think a lot of First Law fans would really enjoy it. So, what series would you recommend for fans of The First Law? Let me know in the comments.